uh, Virgo, they didn't sleep. Not a little sleep, not broken sleep. Zero. Uh, Lying there, ceiling, staring back at them, and your name running on a loop. They couldn't find the off switch for. And at some point, somewhere between 3 a.m. and the first light, um, something cracked open. Um, let's talk about what actually happens to a person at 3 a.m. because that hour, specifically that hour, does something to the defenses that daylight can't. The performance stops. The curated narrative of I'm fine, I'm over it, I've moved on, runs out of energy somewhere around 2 a.m. And by 3, it's completely offline. Um, and what's left um, in the silence, in the dark, with nothing to distract from it, is just the truth. Raw, unmanaged, nowhere to go. Um, and their truth last night um, was you entirely, completely, without interruption until morning. That's not a small thing. That's someone whose system refused to let them rest um, because something unresolved is demanding resolution. Something unspoken is demanding to be spoken. Something that has been managed, suppressed, filed under, not yet, uh, finally said enough. Um, Now the obsession piece, because that word needs precision. Obsession gets a bad reputation uh, because it gets conflated with possession, with unhealthy fixation, with the kind of consuming interest that crosses into something problematic. Um, and sometimes it is that. But there's another kind, uh, the kind that arrives when someone encounters a person, a specific, particular, unlike anyone else person, um, whose frequency does something to their system that they cannot explain and cannot control. The kind of obsession that isn't about possession, it's about recognition, the recognition of something rare, um, something their nervous system has been looking for, possibly for a long time, um, and has just found in you and finding something rare. Um, when you've been looking, uh, produces obsession, the healthy kind, the kind that keeps you up not because you're spiraling, but because your mind keeps returning to something that feels significant and true and worth understanding more completely. That's the obsession that's peaking right now, not possession, uh, recognition. Peaking because it's hit a level they can no longer manage quietly. This reflection invites you to consider, have you felt it too? The specific pull of this connection, the way it returns, regardless of how many times you redirect your attention. Um, the way this person exists in the background of ordinary moments, not dramatically, not inconveniently, just there, present in a way that has nothing to do with effort and everything to do with the fact that something real is happening. Um, because obsession, the real kind, is rarely one directional. Two nervous systems don't usually fixate on each other accidentally. The epiphany. Um, let's go there. Because this is the part that changes things. Not the sleeplessness, not the obsession, not even the feelings that have been building. The epiphany. The moment somewhere in the dark when something clicked. When the pieces that had been assembling slowly in the background suddenly arranged themselves into a picture that was undeniable. What was that picture? Here's what epiphanies about another person usually contain. At the core of them, not I like them more than I thought, not they're attractive and interesting and I want to spend time with them. Those aren't epiphanies, those are just feelings becoming more visible. Real epiphanies, uh, the kind that keep you up until morning, contain something scarier. Something like, I could actually lose this. Um, or this is different from everything before it, and I've been treating it like it isn't. Or I've been waiting for certainty before acting, and certainty was never coming, and now I'm running out of time to do something with what I feel. That specific realization, um, the one that arrives with a kind of urgency that daylight thinking never produces, is what their 3 a.m. delivered. And it landed hard, uh, in the way that things land when there's nothing left to cushion them. And now, in the morning after, they're sitting with it, slightly wrecked from no sleep, slightly terrified of what the epiphany requires of them, and absolutely clear in a way they weren't yesterday about what they want. Uh, Here's the thing about epiphanies, they have a shelf life. Um, Not the feeling itself, but the urgency that makes acting on the feeling feel non negotiable. That urgency is highest in the hours immediately after the epiphany, when the clarity is fresh, when the sleepless night is still sitting in the body, when the usual defenses haven't had time to reassemble. Uh, and then, if nothing happens, if the urgency doesn't produce action, uh, the defenses come back slowly. The rational mind starts negotiating with the epiphany, starts finding reasons to wait, starts repackaging the urgency as impulsivity, starts convincing the person that the clarity they felt at 3 a.m. was just sleep deprivation talking, not actual truth. And then the moment passes. Not because the feeling changed, because the window for acting on it closed. And another period of managed distance and polite ambiguity resumes. The energy around this suggests they're in the window right now. The defenses haven't fully reassembled yet. The epiphany is still loud enough to override the usual caution. Something might come from them soon. While the window is open, um, while the 3 a.m. clarity still has more volume than the daytime management system. And here's what that means for you practically. Um, be available, not in the anxious, hovering, checking your phone every 4 minutes way. In the settled, present, I'm living my life and also open way. Um, the kind of available that doesn't create pressure, but also doesn't create the impression that you've moved on or closed off or become unreachable. Warm but not waiting. Um, present but not hovering. Open but not desperate. That specific combination is the one that gives an epiphany somewhere to go. This reflection invites you to consider if they reach out today, raw from no sleep, carrying whatever landed in the dark. How do you want to receive that? Not what do you want to say, how do you want to be in the first moments of that conversation before words take over. Because the quality of your presence in those first moments, whether they feel received or whether they feel like they miscalculated by reaching, determines everything about where the conversation goes next. Now let's talk about obsession peaking, because peak means something specific. It means a threshold has been crossed. The feeling has exceeded the container it was being kept in. And things that exceed their containers, they spill one way or another into action, into words, into a reach that couldn't be held back anymore. Peaked obsession doesn't stay still. It moves. And the direction it moves toward you, toward clarity, toward finally saying the thing, is probably already in motion. The message being drafted, the conversation being rehearsed, the decision being made in the exhausted, slightly vulnerable 3 a.m. truth still running state to stop waiting for perfect timing. Because 3 a.m. teaches people, when it keeps them up long enough, that perfect timing is a myth. That there is only this moment, this feeling, this person, and the choice of whether to do something with all of it, or let it remain in the ceiling of another sleepless night. Unspoken, unreached, unresolved. They might have chosen differently this time. This reflection invites you to consider, what's your 3 a.m. truth about this connection? Not the daytime version, the one that's been edited for consumption that sounds reasonable and measured and appropriately unbothered. Um, the actual 3M version. Um, the one that exists when the performance stops and the real thing is all that's left because they've met theirs. They sat with it for an entire night. Um, and it produced something, um, a clarity, a decision, a readiness to move that daylight thinking hadn't managed to produce. Um, what would yours produce if you let it? The power is yours. It always has been. Someone spent last night arriving at you, uh, at the conclusion of you, at the specific, sleepless, ceiling staring realization that whatever this is, um, it's too significant to keep treating as optional, um, too real to keep managing from a safe distance, too much like the thing they've been looking for, to continue pretending it isn't exactly that. And now they're awake, um, exhausted, clear, and probably um, already composing the thing they should have said a long time ago. Um, be ready to receive it fully as yourself, as the person worth losing sleep over, because you are. Whether or not you've been letting yourself believe it, take what resonates, softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Tell me in the comments what's your 3M truth about someone right now, the unedited version. Drop it below. This is a safe space. And have you ever had a sleepless night produce a clarity that changed everything? What did you do with it? That's it for today. Go get some sleep. Unlike them, um, you're going to need to be rested for what's coming. Until next time.